Jerry Duggan and CF Villa take the newly rostered X-Men to war as the team descend into an eternal weapons vault to try and disrupt the supply chains to the Hex, who are currently trying to destroy all of Krakoa. Jerry Duggan joins in on the Judgment Day fun with his tie-in issue depicting the mutants' assault on the Hex's supply chains and the steps they need to take in order to get into them. Like the Death to the Mutants issue before this, and how that showed the Eternal side of the portion of the war, this issue shows the X-Men side, and I love that this is what the event is choosing to do, covering all bases and kind of all the movements and moments of this war from all different angles, showing us what all of these characters are up to and how they're reacting to all these certain events. Duggan was also quick to reiterate and make it known to people who didn't really already pick up on it or maybe didn't know, is that the X-Men know that Icarus and his small Eternal group with Cersei and Thena and Ajak and all that are the good guys, and they aren't the ones behind this attack, Droog is, meaning the X-Men won't try and kill those Eternals, at least for now. Being also this is mostly a new X-Men team which debuted in the Hellfire Gala, this is really their first big mission together, and the makeup of the team is really great and the members complement each other really well. You've got a fire and ice powered mutant, one who can use all of other mutants' powers, a powerful psychic, a great leader in his brother, and a guy who can build anything. It's really a unique team and a rather OP team at that, and this trial by fire worked out pretty great for them, I think. CF Villa's grand and bombastic artwork helped the new X-Men team's debut mission have a cinematic and action-orientated feel to it, with each mutant's powers getting some great and creative visuals that helped set them apart from one another and just looked really cool and made the action have that little bit of an extra flair to it. X-Men issue 13 was a fun, action-filled debut for the new roster of the X-Men, giving us a good idea of how the team will work well with each other, while also expertly balancing out being a tie-in to a huge Marvel event. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. X-Men issue 13 finds Jean and Cyclops and their X-Men team battling the Hex above Krakoa with magic, with the mutants all mentally agreeing that they cannot let the monsters establish a beachhead on Krakoa. Scott hopes that Forge is going to suit up soon, as Forge puts the finishing touches on his fleshy gun down on the beach, powering it up and firing it at the Hex, blowing a hole through its head. Forge reveals that he had coated the Hex in tiny machines that will hopefully make the flying monster go into hibernation. As the Hex goes down, Sync hopes that Forge has more ammo, but he says the gun is a one and done deal since nanites don't grow on trees, at least not yet. More of the Hex soon approach as Jean contacts Icarus, who forgot how powerful she is to summon him into her own mind. Icarus helps her down from the sky as Jean tells him that they must stop this war, so Icarus tells her that the Hex are powerful and the Eternals deployed them from the armories through subspace connections, and if they are killed, they will only return, and it's the supply chains they must take out. He tells her of the armories underneath the Earth's crust at the bottom of the Pacific, but there are two problems. The first being the power source is in the arsenal of Uranus and it is protected by weapons and machines, so it would be a suicide mission for whoever goes in, and secondly, no non-Eternals can access the vault, but he thinks he can punch through and let them in. He tells Jean to be ready, but before Jean leaves, he warns her not to kill any Eternals, since if she does, he will not help her. Jean shares the plan with the X-Men, with Scott and Jean hanging back with the Avengers to protect Krakoa while the others breach the supply chain. Iceman grows into a giant version of himself, smashing one of the Hex into the ocean as he keeps Magic, Forge, Sync, and the other X-Men in his hand shield. Magic needs to know where to teleport them, so Forge tells her that Iceman will take them down to the bottom of the ocean, and then Sync will use Jean's powers to get a picture inside the armory, which will allow Magic to then jump them in via a portal. Iceman plunges into the depths of the water, diving deep, but suddenly he is cut in half by a snake-like Hex who followed them. The shield Iceman sealed the mutants in begins to crack as Sync syncs up with Bobby to ensure the walls hold, as Firestar thinks that they should have just used an Avengers submarine. Icarus meanwhile clears out Kalos from the Oceanic Watch and his computer systems, telling the mutants to expect heavy resistance. Sync knows that they already have found some and they aren't even close to the bottom of the ocean as the Hex tries to bite its way into the shield orb. Iceman suggests that they go back, but Sync gets the picture of the place from Icarus's mind, allowing Magic to teleport them into the room. Magic tells the team to disrupt the energy to the hex quick and to get out as they cut their way through the robots protecting the area. Forge knows how the amount of firepower the hex have would take a lot of energy. Knowing most ways to disrupt the systems would be fatal to both the Eternals and for them. Forge, however, comes up with the idea to freeze the energy core as fast as possible, so Iceman joins his powers with Sync, whom Bobby welcomes to Team Omega. Sync doesn't like the sound of that since he'd rather not be at the top of Nimrod's hit list. Bobby knows that being part of that list, there is no upper limit to how disappointed he is right now, having hoped that with Cyclops telling the truth about resurrections, it would have made encounters like this less aggressive. He hopes people will stop trying to kill them when they survive the fight with the Eternals, since it will show they aren't easily killed when suddenly Sync's arm is cut off by a robot. He regrows the arm in ice, knowing that if he had not been synced with Bobby, he would have been properly maimed. He wishes to finish this up quick since he is worried that even with all the mutants up there on Krakoa, they will need the X-Men. Jean meanwhile uses the oceans to swallow up one of the hexes, calling for Magic to give her a situation report. Magic tells her they need more time, telling Firestar to begin steaming up the place and giving them some cover. Firestar does just that, melting Iceman's ice and covering the area in a thick steam. Havoc asks Magic if force protocols are enabled since he doesn't want to get in trouble, but Magic knows they aren't so sure if the five are alive or dead right now, and the only answer she can give him is that she does not trust Icarus. Iceman and Sync meanwhile begin to try and freeze the energy core, which is taking longer than they thought, but soon the giant Eternal machine grinds to a halt, frozen solid by the ice. Bobby wants to make it as hard as possible to undo, freezing every molecule he can as Sync gets ready to rendezvous with Magic for a quick exit. Forge meanwhile knows that while they promise not to kill any Eternals, they didn't tell Icarus that they wouldn't loot some of the ancient technology there. Magic tells him to hurry up with his looting as she teleports the group out of the vault, returning them to Krakoa. Forge notices that the Hex are just leaving the island, making Magic think that something is wrong, but Havoc wants to take the win, wanting to go and grab a drink at the Green Lagoon. Magic isn't too happy with the mutant, reminding him how the five might be dead and all Havoc wants to do is get drunk. Havoc knows that someone needs to go and check on Blob and if he's alive, so part of his suggestion was good, and if the five really are dead, then they can raise a toast to them. Suddenly the progenitor appears, speaking to the mutants, telling them that this is their judgment day as Forge thinks he's having some sort of peyote flashback. The progenitor tells the people of Earth that they all have 24 hours to justify themselves and they will be judged individually and as a collective, and the X-Men's adjudication has begun.